Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the game The Last of Us, I noticed something that kind of stuck out and I found it to be unique. Was how you use a lot of ladders and planks in the game, and then due to that, you avoid a lot of the infected because they don't climb ladders. And further, when you're you'll go on top of a bus, like you'll climb a ladder on top of a bus, or you need to get to another side, so you walk on the plank, and they're like infected going around. And small details like that kind of show you the creativity of the writers, because the mind of those infected ones are not they're different than the others in most zombie games, because like The Walking Dead was not very, they jumped the shark. They totally turned into a nonsense series, and the games are trash. But with these infected, you have different stages of infection, from turning into a runner, to a stalker, to a clicker, and then to a bloater, right? And then perishing and then turning into that mushroom looking thing that grows on the wall. You notice how that the clickers get like these mushroom looking faces they can't see but they can hear, and traveling by ladders is one way that they can avoid getting pounced on, and also dealing with the broken infrastructure. And what is really clever as well is, as Joel and Ellie are traveling to go find Bill, they do a lot of those traveling by planks because there's booby traps around that Bill's set for the infected. And that helps to get rid of intruders who don't know you have those traps set up, and the infected. So it's like a very ingenious way of securing your perimeter, and also signaling to those who know that you have to travel from building on top of building in order to avoid the infected, because the infected, they are like, on the ground, mindlessly going about, grumbling to themselves or whatever. And the most dangerous buildings are in the game. You notice it's all inside in the darkest places, which is pretty scary. And if you travel, like, you got a long ways to go, traveling on top of buildings is like the safest bet, and you do that through planks. And this made me think about the architecture in the game and in some of these towns. Like in Philadelphia, there's, some of the buildings are just all connected to each other, right? But others have like a very thin gap. So instead of traveling by alleyway and getting stuck, with the clickers and the runners, the infected basically, or enemy rival factions who don't know you're traveling above head, you can actually do that. And that's pretty cool. It's unique, and you see the ladders and the planks used throughout the game in lots of different places, and I like that. So the design of the game, where the plants have taken over a building, it's all broken down, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, we need a ladder, you gotta climb, and you gotta cross over. It's like a way of traveling that's really mind-blowing in a way. It almost shows you how we take for granted just walking on the sidewalk. But in such an apocalyptic world, you can't just be out in the open anymore. And you have to be cautious of where you go. So the necessity for using planks and ladders and everything to travel by rooftop or from broken piece to broken piece shows you that in the new realm, you gotta be a bit of ingenious. And so I haven't really seen that in the game. In Assassin's Creed, you can jump and climb, which is pretty cool. But I do think it's nice how the game forces you to slow down and look for ways in and look for ways across. Because when the plants take over and infrastructure breaks down and things start crumbling, you're going to have to find unique ways, and a simple board is going to help. And I liked that. Let me know what you think. I found that to be unique. So, carpenters, you're going to be making lots of ladders for us.